Come on and shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. Join award-winning host Dale Davidson as he interviews the most remarkable people you'll find in the entertainment capital of the world. You'll meet entertainers, sports figures, newsmakers, community and business leaders, and people just like you with stories that'll touch your heart. Now, here's Dale Davidson.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm Dale Davidson. Every week at this time we have fascinating guests, really interesting topics. And this time we have a critically important topic. We're going to talk about the Holocaust. At this time in April, which is when we're taping, there's a special Remembrance Day. And we have with us Mr. Ben Lesser, who is a Holocaust survivor. And he has, for the last several years, been working on a project that basically is designed to make sure that no one ever forgets. And it's my pleasure to introduce my guest for today, Mr. Ben Lesser. Mr. Lesser, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson.
We appreciate it very much.
Pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, we're honored that you decided to come in and share your story with us and our audience.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit. Let's start recently, and then let's go back to your childhood and what you experienced in Poland. How long have you been in Las Vegas?
Oh, approximately 14 years.
14 years, yeah. And you came here from Los Angeles, I understand?
Los Angeles, right.
And originally from Poland?
Originally from Poland,
right.
Correct.
And you have family here in Las Vegas?
No, just my wife and I.
You and your wife?
Right. My kids live in L.A. and in Staten Island. But I have two daughters. Both of them are married. And I have two wonderful grandchildren. One daughter lives in L.A. and with her husband, Michael Gerber, and my other daughter, Sherry, lives in Staten Island.
Oh, okay.
With her too.
Yeah, and your granddaughters and your daughter have been helping you with the project, and your son-in-law as well, I guess?
Of course, the project has actually just begun this January.
Oh, okay.
January of '09. And basically what it is, it's a little pin.
Sure. Right there.
Called Zachor.
I'm wearing one too.
Yes.
Thanks to
you.
The
mission of the project, Zachor means remember. The mission of the project is to give out these pins to all students and listeners of the Holocaust stories, not just by me, any teacher or any person that teaches about the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that after the students get through listening, this little memento, this little pin, Zachor, will be handed out to them, something tangible to remember us by, something that they can go home to and show and tell to their parents. Look what we heard. And hopefully someday, even if they don't wear it, they put it in a drawer or in their jewelry box. Maybe their own kids, when they have children, will find it and they'll say, Mommy or Daddy, what is the meaning of this strange-looking pin? So there goes the story.
And you're passing them out to students everywhere, including here in Las Vegas.
Everywhere.
Right.
This is the mission of our foundation. We formed it called Zachor Holocaust Remembrance Foundation, and our mission is to hand out these pins free of charge to all the speakers and teachers who teach about the Holocaust, so they in turn can hand them out to the listeners.
Yeah, and we'll talk. You have a couple of fascinating stories about the kids here in Las Vegas and the reactions that there have been here in the local school system. We're going to take one real brief break, and then we're going to come back and talk uninterruptedly following this first break. We'll be back with much more on Las Vegas Tonight right after this.
A potential audience of more than 50 million people is reached every week by Las Vegas Tonight. To keep the important message of Christ's love on the air, we need your prayers and financial blessings. Please send your tax-deductible gift to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. For a donation of $25 or more, we'll send you a copy of Dale Davidson's new book, Las Vegas Tonight, From Sin City to Vegas Saints. You'll love these inspiring stories of Las Vegas Christians who are changing the world. Or donate to the ministry, or order Dale's book by going to vegassaints.org. That's vegassaints.org. Or call us today at 702-480-3989. That's 480-3989. God bless you.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight, a very special edition. We're talking about the Holocaust and the special day of remembrance this month. We have with us Mr. Ben Lesser, who is a Holocaust survivor, and he has a fascinating story, and he's doing some excellent work in trying to make sure that students in particular are very much aware of what happened 60 years ago, and he is obviously concerned about this, and he wants to make certain that this is never forgotten. Mr. Lesser, once again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood. You grew up in Krakow, Poland, I understand.
Yes.
And tell us about your family and what it was like growing up there.
All right. I was born in 1928 in Krakow, Poland, and I come from a family, a loving family of 7. My mother and father, I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And the only survivor left from the family of 7 is my sister Lola Lieber, and she lives in Brooklyn, New York. She's an artist. But going back to my childhood.
And you were the only other survivor.
Yeah, just the 2 of us were the survivors. I really, for some reason or another, lost most of my childhood memories pre-war. I remember something, but it's very, very nebulous, and it's not clear to me. Mm-hmm. Certain instances, certain happenings I do recall, but I can't remember when I went to school. Can't remember my teachers or where I went to school. For some reason or another, that good part of my life pre-war is just lost, just like it disappeared. Mm-hmm. And what has overtaken is, since the war began, and there was nothing but one problem after another, and running and hiding and trying to stay alive, somehow it overpowered my memories from before.
That's certainly understandable. The trauma obviously has affected you and affected your whole life.
Yes. Now in Krakow, we had a good business. My father had a winery business. Oh. And he was making kosher wine and syrups, fruit syrups. Mm-hmm. He also had a chocolate factory, and he was one of the first people, and I don't know if he invented it or not, but he was one of the first people who started to manufacture in Poland chocolate-covered wafers, something like Kit Kat.
Oh, okay, sure.
Only in those days it was in shape of little animals, wrapped with tin foil. It was very, it was a good business, popular, right. Yeah. But it didn't last very long, because once the war broke out in 1939, September of 1939, everything has changed. Just to go back to a little bit about my background, my mother comes from a town from Czechoslovakia called Munkachevo. It'll come into my story a little later, it's important. My mother would take her children, usually in the summertime, go to her parents to Munkac every summer. In the winter, we would come back to Krakow, where my father had the business running. And this is important because one of my sisters, Goldie, who did not survive, she remained during the war with my grandparents in Munkac, my mother's side of the family. Mm-hmm. And as my story progresses, you'll see how the reunification, how everything happened. It's important that that part is known, that one of my sisters remained in Munkac with my mother's side of the family, her grandparents, uncles, and so on. We lived in Krakow on a major street, and it was 1939, I don't remember, September, but I don't recall exactly. I was approximately 11 years of age, not quite 11, when early in the morning I heard a rumbling, and as I looked out the window, I saw tanks rolling down the street, half-tracks following the tanks, and the soldiers, every few steps, a soldier would jump out of the half-track, get on the sidewalk. This is how they occupied the city. There was no shooting or any fighting or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there was the Wehrmacht that followed with the goose steps and their shiny boots. It was quite impressionable for an 11-year-old kid. And we had no idea, no one had any idea what's expected, what's coming to us. If my parents knew anything, of course they didn't tell us kids. It's possible because Kristallnacht happened the year before in Germany and in Austria.
And that was the night when the Nazis broke all the windows.
Exactly, Mr. Dave. They broke the windows of the stores, the shops, and they were burning the synagogues, and a lot of Jewish people randomly were just taken into concentration camps. So many of them ran away from Germany and they came to Poland. So my parents must have heard something, but no one expected what was coming, really. I mean, maybe there would have been some discrimination or whatever, but no one expected to the extent they were taking it, the Nazis. That was completely by surprise. So what happened is, after they occupied, about within 2 weeks' time, we found out, we got a taste of Nazi brutality. It was early in the morning, approximately at 5 a.m., a truck pulls up in front of the building, and they were knocking on the door. The super from the building came and unlocked the door. That's what they do in Europe. They lock the doors at the main gate at night, open in the morning. He came running, what's going on? So they wanted to know where the Jewish people lived. And he, of course, obliged, and he told them where we lived. And there was another family across from us, another Jewish family. And they came running in with sacks in their hand, pistol whipping all of us, and yelling, "Schnell, schnell, give us all your valuables, gold, silver, jewelry, fur, anything, and throw it into these sacks." And while they were doing this, they were beating us at the same time. This other family across the way, another Jewish young couple, they had two young girls, approximately my age, because after school, I remember we would play in the yard. But that couple had an infant son that was born maybe 2 weeks earlier. And as these Nazis were screaming and yelling at them to throw all their valuables into the sack, the child got woken up. And all of a sudden we heard that screaming, terrible yelling and screaming. So myself and my sister too, we ran out to go to see what happened to them. And this is what we saw. A memory I'll never forget. This monster was holding the baby by its legs and swinging it with a smile on his face. And the mother and father and the daughters, they jumped on him, they're screaming. They pushed him all away, and with a swing, full force, he swung the baby's head into the doorpost, killing it instantly. Well, you can imagine what happened.
Oh,
The mother
it's
and
horrible.
father, we all jumped on top of him. And of course, all of us were beaten down. And of course, mother was beaten so bad that she died within 2 weeks' time. So we had our first taste. And these atrocities did not stop because we heard of shootings and killing, random killings on the street, just anyone. They would grab Jewish people. They could tell if you're Jewish because Jewish people usually wore a beard because most of them were, you know, religious, Orthodox.
They were Orthodox Jews. Yeah.
Orthodox Jews. And they always wore their head covered.
Mm-hmm.
So they could tell, and they were always taking them and cutting their beards off or cutting it at an angle just to have a little fun with it, or putting him to work cleaning the sidewalk with a brush or a toothbrush sometimes, just to do something to keep them
Humiliate them.
humiliated.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So we had a pretty good taste at the beginning, but these ordinances started coming in real fast and furious. Rules, regulations, you couldn't. First of all, my father went to the business one day and there were guards stationed in front of the business and everything was confiscated, just taken away. He went to the chocolate factory the same way. Both places were just taken away immediately. And then Jewish people could no longer, they had travel, they had to have special permits going on a train or out of town. We had to have armbands with the Star of David. Everyone had to register, and the registration, there was an ID for each person, and in it they had the great J in red for Jewish, Judah. So this started coming real fast and furious, these ordinances. And pretty soon there was an ordinance that Jewish people can no longer reside in Krakow unless they go into a section which they designated as a ghetto. That's when the ghetto started in Krakow. But they gave us a choice in those days. If you didn't, if you wouldn't go into the ghetto, you had a choice. You can go to a neighboring community in the outskirts of Krakow. That's allowed. But if you live in a big city, you're going to have to go into a ghetto. Anyway,
This is designed to control the population
Correct.
of Jews. Yeah.
I mean, they had their agenda. They knew exactly what they wanted, but this is the way they started to keep track of everybody. But it was unusual because in those days they gave you a choice. After that, there were no choices, but this was the first beginning.
Slow steps.
Yeah, so they gave us a choice. My sister, Lola, the one who survived, was a beautiful, both of them were beautiful women. She was a girl of about 16 at the time, or 16. And she had a young man who pursued her. He was madly in love with her, Michael. And my father knew about this. You know, they're very strict in my home. They wouldn't let him. I mean, he had to come to the house to meet with her and all that. He came to my father and begged him. He says, "Mr. Lesser, you know how I feel about Lola. Eventually, I hope to marry her. My family is moving to this little town in the outskirts called Niepolomice. If you would please come there too, I would appreciate it, you know, but help you do anything you can." Anyway, my father agreed. And what happened is we had loaded all our belongings, what little was left, on a wagon, and we were going to leave town going to that little town, Niepolomice. Excuse me. Somehow my father was able to save a few American dollars. I think my sister tells me close to $1,000. It was a small fortune in those days. So he took a religious book, one of the religious literature book, hollowed a few pages, put in the money and taped it in there, and put it in a sack with all the other books right into the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were leaving Krakow, just the other side, just a few kilometers out of Krakow, we were being stopped by Germans. And we see a pile full of books, like a mountain, Jewish books. And two husky Germans jump on the wagon and says, all I want, you have any Jewish books, literature? And sure, they saw those two sacks full of books. They took them and they heaved them on top of that pile.
Oh, no.
And my sister spoke beautiful German. So she walked out with this German. She says, please, my father is a writer. He wrote his autobiography. Let him keep this one book. So somehow he looked at her. He says, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. If you can find it, go ahead. Well, all of us started to climb on top of that mountain of books. Well, it's impossible because all of these books look alike. They're either black or they're brown, and they're all leather bound.
Mm-hmm.
You try and climb on a mountain of book, you go 1 step up and 2 steps down, you slide down. And we couldn't find it. After 5 minutes, we were chased away. Once we were chased away, we were on our way to that little town with penniless, nothing. So my father arrived, and my future brother-in-law made arrangements where to live in this one shack. Actually, it was like a little farmhouse, but it had a sash roof, and they had 2 apartments. The owner lived in one, and we lived in the other one. It's the apartments, one big room.
Mm-hmm.
There were no bathrooms, were outhouses in those days. At least there in Krakow, we had bathrooms in the house. So each one of these houses had an oven where you can bake bread in the hallway. My future brother-in-law, knowing that he lost all his money, he brought him a sack full of flour, about 100 pounds of flour, figuring at least he'll be able to bake some bread for the family. My father took the flour, he started to bake pretzels. And he took the pretzels to the neighboring bars, and this is how he started to make a living. It was quite a novelty because no one saw pretzels there in those bars. And
there was a way to make a little money.
He made a little money, he made a business, enough to feed the family. And anyway, in time he became a little baker. From that he became to cakes and cookies and bread, and he became a little baker. Meanwhile, my sister Lola marries, and my older brother Morris, he also married. So the only one left in the house was my little brother, Tuli, myself, my mother and father. My other sister lived, of course, in Munkac, which is in Hungary, with her grandparents. So here we are, minding our own life. Life was pretty normal for a little while. We had the bakery, we made a little living, and Lola married, she was happy, until my brother-in-law at the time, his apartment was in the mayor's building. The mayor had a little, like 2 apartments, so he rented out one, and he lived there. The mayor tells him, there's something going to happen in this town tonight. I heard that they're going to round up the Jewish people, so go save yourselves. And this is what we did. That very night, all of us quietly snuck out, and then we hired a wagon, horse and buggy with a driver, and he took us to the neighboring city. The neighboring city, the closest one, was a city, mid-sized city, called Bochnia. Bochnia was notorious for the atrocities that happened there in the ghetto. Bochnia had a ghetto because it wasn't a small town anymore. They had a ghetto. Now, when we came to Bochnia, we had to go into this ghetto. So even though we knew about the atrocities, just to give you some idea what the atrocities were, apparently one night in Bochnia Ghetto, some Nazis drove in with a bunch of trucks, like dump trucks, and they went from house to house pulling out the children from their beds and throwing them into those trucks. Now you can imagine what was going on. The parents, the kids crying and screaming, what's happening? They just pulled them out of bed without a word and threw them in the trucks, filled up 3 truckloads with kids. And the kids are screaming, the parents are yelling. As the trucks pulled out, the parents ran afterwards. Those cultured people opened up machine gun fire, killing the parents behind the trucks in front of their children. And no one ever knew what happened to the kids. They disappeared. So word got out in all the ghettos. I mean, that's something they never heard happening before. Imagine.
Yeah. So the word traveled
around.
This is what's going on in the ghetto in this town.
People knew in Bochnia Ghetto that was the first place something like this ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
But we had no choice. We had to go there, and the good thing we did, because that town was raided and most people were hauled away, most Jewish people.
We're going to continue with your story, and I know that people are just fascinated with this story.
Thank you.
And they're going to want to watch the second episode. I'm Dale Davidson. This is Las Vegas Tonight. Please join us for part 2 here this time next week. We are really very moved and touched by this remarkable story about the Holocaust. Thank you very much. God bless, and walk with Him.
Drawn by the lights, glamour, and opportunities in Sin City, they come from all over the world, searching for their chance to be a pretty woman, a success, or maybe just to have a better life. Be somebody. What happened after they got here is literally changing the world. From the story of Tommy Scott, a former gang enforcer turned Christian evangelist, to the Hookers for Jesus Outreach Ministry, to the heart-wrenching story of Arturo Martinez and his heroic act of forgiving the man who assaulted and murdered his wife and 10-year-old daughter. Las Vegas Tonight presents an extraordinary depiction of Las Vegas as a city of transformation, from Sin City to Vegas Saints. Las Vegas Tonight, from Sin City to Vegas Saints, a collection of true stories of transformation, people whose lives were transformed, and people who are now transforming the world. You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with Dale Davidson. Send your tax-deductible gifts to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Or call 702-480-3989. Thanks for watching.